Hello, my name is Krista Kay. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about feeder scanners. There are two very popular scanners that I get asked about all the time: the Epson FastFoto and the Plustek ePhoto scanner. They're both great scanners, but I recommend different ones for different people. So if you're shopping for a feeder scanner, this is the video for you. But first, make sure to hit the subscribe button if you love your photos and you're looking for the best tips to enjoy and preserve those photos. Make sure you're subscribing to my channel. Two things right up front. First of all, the Epson FastFoto is my personal favorite. I absolutely love this scanner. I think it's actually fun to use, but as everybody notices right away, it is more expensive. You'll notice that even when the Epson FastFoto is on sale, it's still about twice the price of that Plustek ePhoto scanner. So what are you paying for, and is it worth paying that extra money to get that scanner? So first, let's talk about what these scanners are. They're feeder scanners. So the neat thing with a feeder scanner is that it's taking your photos and just sending them through the machine, as opposed to a flatbed scanner, which you might be familiar with. You open the top, you put the photo down. That's going to be the most time-consuming option. So either way, whether you go with the Plustek scanner or the Epson FastFoto, it's going to be faster. The Plustek photo scanner, you're feeding them through manually one at a time. So you're going to individually put a photo through. It'll take maybe up to 10 seconds to feed that photo through, and then you feed the next one. So you have to be sitting with it and constantly maintaining that you're feeding those photos in. Now, the scanner itself is kind of loud, so it would be hard to maybe watch television while you're scanning with it. But if you put some earbuds in, you can watch a movie that way. I think that would be one way to use that Plustek scanner and just mindlessly, one after another, feed those photos into it and be distracted so you can get that job done still quickly, much quicker than that flatbed scanner, doing 10 seconds per photo and getting them scanned. Overall, I found this Plustek scanner does everything it promises. It saves quality scans to your computer. So I think it does a nice job of accomplishing the task it tells you it's going to do. But here's the thing. The Epson FastFoto does so much more, so much faster. Now, you might be thinking that the Plustek scanner is fast enough, that 12 photos in a minute sounds speedy, you're good to go with that. But the truth is, most people's photo collection includes thousands of photos that they want to scan. And when you do the math on that, doing 12 per minute, it could take you a week to scan a photo collection. But if you have the Epson FastFoto, you are scanning 60 pictures in a minute. So it's substantially faster. But also, it's taking a stack of photos at a time and feeding them through automatically. So you don't have to place one photo in, then another, and you don't have to sit next to it mindlessly feeding photo after photo. It is doing that for you. So that in itself is making it so much faster. But the Epson FastFoto has a bunch of other bells and whistles that I think just make it better. One of my absolute favorite feature of the Epson FastFoto is that it color corrects photos. I think this is just an amazing bonus. So when you send a photo through the scanner, it will scan it as the original and save it as the original, and you have the option to also save it color corrected. Now, this is great if you have those old pictures from the 60s or 70s that have that funky tint to them. This is going to correct that funky tint. But what I've also found is even photos in the 90s or early 2000s that have maybe faded a little bit, or maybe just were a bit off to begin with, that maybe is so subtle you didn't even realize it. When you see the scanned version with the autocorrect on, it's enhanced the contrast, it's enhanced the colors. It just makes these pictures look better. And I think it does a really great job at that. That's probably my favorite added feature that I think is just beneficial for everybody who's scanning an old photo collection. But it has several other things that I think are great. It corrects for dust spots. So if you have those little white speckles that show up on any of your photos, that's dust that's on your scanner or on your photo. It's going to correct those and clean up the picture. It'll clean up red eye. So if you have photos, old pictures where there was red eye in the pictures, there's an auto red eye correction that will fix that too. So that does a nice job. And everybody I've talked to absolutely loves that it scans both the front and the back of the photo, but only if it detects writing on the back. So if it sees that there is something on the back of a photo, it will scan that side as well. It'll save them together so they stay together, and you can see you have that original writing, you have the information that was on the back of the photo, and that's just a huge bonus when you're trying to organize a a big photo collection. All of this in mind, I definitely recommend the Epson FastFoto for most people that I speak with. However, there are times when I think the Plustek might be a better solution, and that is when I talk to somebody who doesn't have a huge photo collection. If you have just a couple boxes, maybe 200-300 pictures, and it's a one evening project, maybe it's worth just saving the money and going with this Plustek scanner. It will get the job done. It will give you a quality scan. The other time is if somebody's on a budget and it's just not an option. When it comes down to it, I feel like it is so important that you have a digital copy of your photos so they are safe and they are backed up, and that it really needs to be done. And if you are putting off buying a scanner because the Epson is too expensive, then get the Plustek so you can get that project going. I really feel like it's that important that if budget constraints mean you have to go with the less expensive one, then that's fine, go with that. And the other time is sometimes I talk to people who this is a retirement project or kind of enjoying this side project and they don't have any time constraints. So if you're not in any hurry to get this project done and you have all the time in the world to spend a couple hours a day on it and, like I said, watch a movie or whatever, then the Plustek is worth saving some extra money and going with that. I want to leave you with a story that I'm hoping will encourage you to go out and purchase one of these scanners sooner than later. It's a story from Hurricane Ian. Many of you might already know I helped people to salvage their flood damaged photographs after Hurricane Ian. It really was a time that motivated me to get this word out there and to help everybody to proactively scan their photos, because I saw how heartbreaking it was when I talked to person after person and went into home after home where they had lost everything. And as I talked to different people, the same thing kept reoccurring. People were telling me that the loss of their photos was the hardest loss. It was the most difficult thing. And these are homes where everything they owned was in a pile at the curb. There'd been 15 feet of water through their house. Everything was destroyed. And as I'd walk in, they would just tell me, and often sobbing as they would tell me, that it was special photos from college, a vacation, their parents' wedding pictures. So many special memories were completely destroyed, and it was heartbreaking for them. But it's often left me to think that in all of these situations, they never brought up the Pottery Barn pillows or the upgraded coffee maker. It was their photos. These other items went out to the trash and they were just an unfortunate loss, but the photos that really hurt a lot more. So with that in mind, I like to just remind everybody that as you might be thinking that this Epson FastFoto is too expensive, or even the Plustek, I don't want to invest in a scanner right now. I speak from my heart when I tell you that I spoke with people who would have paid any amount of money to go back in time and to have a digital copy of their friends from school, their childhood pictures, to have that back. So I implore you, purchase one of these scanners. Purchase the scanner, start the project, and get your photos digitized so you never have to worry about the effects of a natural disaster or even just time. I hope that helps. I definitely want to see you keeping your photos safe. And if you're on board with me, again, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Follow along here. I am sharing my best tips and tricks to make sure that your photos are always safe.